crafty friends, thank you for joining me. Today I'm going to create a journal page. I'm going to start a new journal, and I'm going to start with some tissue paper, tearing some pieces of pattern tissue paper, and I'm going to add them to my page with gel medium. Gel medium is basically a glue and a sealer, so when you use it you have to make sure that you apply gel medium to the surface, then you add your paper, tissue paper, whatever you want to add, and then you cover that paper with gel medium on top. This way it seals it and makes sure it adheres very well to the page. So I'm adding more and more pieces. Now basically when you create a journal page, it doesn't have to be neat or organized. The whole point is to have fun and get your fingers dirty and have a big mess of color, shapes, textures on your page. So you just create, and whatever comes out will be beautiful and it will be yours, and this is your creation and your inspiration. After applying gel medium and adding all the pieces of the tissue paper, you just dry it a little bit with your heat gun. Now I'm going to add color. I have a little water there on my tray, and I'm using aqua and yellow acrylic paints. I always like to wet my brush a little bit first with water, and then I just color the entire page with the paint. Again, don't worry if it's messy, if it's not very accurate. The lines don't have to be straight. This is the whole point. Just have fun. Now I'm adding a little bit of yellow. It mixes with the blue and some of it becomes green. Just adding color here and there. And of course you need to dry everything with your heat tool. It's very important to dry every layer so they won't mix together. Now I'm adding a little bit of gesso. I'm adding a little bit of water to the gesso to make it more transparent, not very white. And I'm just applying the gesso all over the paper, more or less. Again, don't worry about accuracy. It gives it another layer of texture and color, and also gives the paint and the color a little bit of a sort of a fade feeling. Now a lot of you asked me where did I get my Hebrew letters. So this is the improvised mask that I created. It's basically a die cut paper that I took all the letters from, and now I'm using it as a stencil. So I'm applying modeling paste on a few of the spaces for a few letters. You can contact me if you want one of those. I can get it for you, no problem. You'll have Hebrew letters, and after you use the Hebrew letters you can do the same thing I did and use it as a stencil. I think I even have a few letters there that I haven't used yet. So creating a few letters with modeling paste, and you have to dry it very well with your heat tool, because otherwise the paste is going to smudge and smear, and you don't want that. After it's completely dry, I'm adding a little bit of brown color with distress ink on the letters. The whole point of a journal page is something very personal that you want to create for your own inspiration. So whatever you put there is great. This is another stencil I'm using. I'm going to use the metal bird cage with some black acrylic paint and a sponge. Just dab it on the stencil. So whatever you put on your journal page means something to you, and that's the only person it's supposed to mean something. A journal is something that is only for you, and it's with your own thoughts and your own inspiration and your own ideas. So you can deliver the message any way you want, as long as it makes sense to you. This is the bird cage. Give it a little bit of a heat tool dry. Now I'm going to add a monogram, an X, and I'm going to emboss it with some white embossing powder. So I'm applying my embossing ink. And adding my powder. And of course you need a heat tool for this. Just get rid of the excess powder. And then you do the embossing magic. I love it. Always gives me a really big smile on my face when it turns, when it all melts. Really love it. Now I'm going to add 2 stamps of letters, script and print, with the brown permanent ink. I'm going to stamp my X first, and then I'm going to add a little bit to my page. If you wanna stamp on embossing, then you have to use permanent ink so it will hold. I'm going to use the black permanent ink now. This stays on. With the print letters. Don't need an acrylic block. I'm going to glue my X to the page. The theme of this page is going to be, don't let anyone tell you what to do. Or in other words, don't let anyone put you in a cage. In a creative cage or a real cage. You can take it to whatever meaning that you want. So there's a big X there, and the cage, and all the letters are like words of people trying to tell you what to do. Now I'm adding some washi tape that also has letters on it. I'm tearing the pieces from washi tape and I'm just adding them. Now I want to add a little bit more yellow to my page. You just add a little bit more paint on the letter, on the monogram, wherever you want. Dry everything again, make sure it's dry with the heat tool. Now you know red is a color of warning in nature and in general, so I'm adding a little bit of red to my warning of not telling anybody what to do, me included. So just adding a little bit of red distress ink to my monogram, to my paper, my page, the corners. I'm doing it with my finger. That's the best way of smearing some paint and adding paint. It also makes me happy when my fingers are dirty with color and ink and paint and everything. So I'm just adding the ink, sorry, giving it more dimension. Now I'm going to add my sentence. Don't let people tell you what to do. That's the sentence. I'm using Prima letter stickers. They have so many fonts and sizes, so I'm not scared that I'm going to run out of letters. Sometimes when you want to add a long sentence or a sentiment, then you start it in the middle. You realize you don't have all the letters that you need. But there's so many letters here, so I'm safe. So I'm adding all my letters. So basically, when you create a journaling, a journal book, I always like to create it with all kinds of sentiments and sentences that inspire me. And then when it's ready, I like to go over it and read it. And it gives me new ideas every time. So basically, I inspire myself. And it's great. You should try it. Now for the word do, I want to take my letters and give them a little bit more emphasis. So with my fingers, I'm adding a little bit of yellow paint as a frame to the letter sticker, just so it be more visible. So to finish off my page, I'm going to add a little bit of brown distress ink to the edges of the page. And it's basically finished. So thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next time. Go create your own journal page.